Welcome to the online overhaul. Based on current evaluations, surveys, and student faculty feedback, we've really identified some current issues with our online courses and what types of methods we can really employ to start to strengthen and improve the current success rates here at our university. This will include understanding various learning styles to better engage the students and the development of an application of using the community of inquiry framework. The analysis was recently done to evaluate the success rates of our current online courses. During this analysis, it was discovered that the success rates of these courses has been declining over the past several semesters. Student to student, as well as student to instructor interactions, have also really been seeing a steep decline. This analysis also revealed that the curriculum has not been updated in over 3 years, which is something we've really got to tackle to stay abreast of the changes in a virtual learning environment or an online learning environment. Several things really need to be considered. First off, let's look at the student rates declining. There's some questions that we really need to ask ourselves. Why is the student rate declining? Why are students struggling? And does this have an impact on our graduation rates in a direct or more of an indirect way? The next really big topic we've got to look at is the student to student and student to instructor relationships are beginning to really diminish. What we're looking at is maybe there could be opportunities for more online collaboration. And also what types of collaboration, if any, are already working for us. And if they're not working, what can we do differently to make them work? And then the third big chunk that we're going to look at tackling is our curriculum. It is outdated. We all know that. We've all seen that. We're all witnessing the fact that our curriculum really needs to have an overhaul. So the questions we need to ask ourselves: do we have internal instructional design team issues? Is there any reason we can't make these changes? Is there any reason we can't make these updates? And do we need more resources? Do we need more time with SMEs? Do we need more time with the planning process? Do we need more time conducting research and analyses to figure out really where we're at and where we need to go? So let's look at the community of inquiry. This is really a theory that we're going to really dive into to see what we can do to really make sure that student learning is taken and it's used on a personal level to where it's personally helping a student grow. So what is the community of inquiry? The community of inquiry model uses 3 main concepts to describe how learning occurs. Learning occurs at the intersection of social, cognitive, and the teaching presences. We can't have true learning without the inclusion of all 3, and this model really shows us where we need to be right smack dab in the middle of these circles. Social presence relates to the student and the student interaction as an interpersonal relationship begins to develop. Cognitive presence relates to the interaction with content and the information being shared. How are these students using it? How are they learning? How are they applying in their lives and in their professions? And teaching presence, how does that relate to the interaction with the instructor or the instructor's guidance? A culmination of all 3 of these and a combination of all 3 of these is what we really need to tackle to make this a successful learning experience for our students. So let's get to the tasks that we need to tackle here. And trying to align with our mission and values, as well as really doing what's best for our students, our programs, and our courses, we've created a 5-step process, which will really take into account our analyses, our findings, our research. There are a few things that we really need to tackle when trying to provide these changes and modifications to our online learning courses and contents. First, we've really got to look at our issues. We've got to identify our key issues. What's the big stuff that's causing us concern? Next, we really need to determine our plan of action, and there may be more than one. So we're going to conduct a few analyses, such as a needs and a gap analysis, as well as a task analysis. And these are going to kind of start giving us a really broad idea so that we can start targeting and honing in on these specific changes that are going to need to be made. Then we'll begin working on making these changes. We're going to meet with our SMEs, we're going to meet with our design and our multimedia teams, and really start planning, designing, and creating these new courses. We know that the curriculum is staying relatively the same, but we need to make sure that we become more of a digital presence in this online higher education learning environment. So finally, we'll implement our changes, and then we're going to evaluate that based on how the students react, how the teachers and the faculty react. So this is kind of our robust 5 steps that we're going to tackle throughout this process. So we've got our hands full. Here are just a few issues that are contributing to our stagnant and even dwindling, dare I say, success rates. We have to figure out what's happening. Why are they dwindling? Why are we not being as successful? Or why are our students not being as successful? We've got to evaluate the content of the courses and the courses, of course. But then we have to ask ourselves, are we teaching 21st century skills to the 21st generation of learners? Is our content antiquated? Is our content basic? Is it subpar? Also, what is our collaborative environment like? Do we have options to engage and allow students to have interaction with both teachers and staff? Communication is the only way we can really begin to build on our social presence in that community inquiry model to help us strengthen our teaching and cognitive presences. We can't begin one and falter in another one or falter in another two. We have to have a cyclical learning and building experience here. Also, what does our support system look like? Can we be reached easily? Are we supporting where we have the greatest need? Are we available to give and receive feedback as it applies to student progress and their specific learning needs? These are really some things that we've got to consider and we've got to figure out as we kind of move forward. The truth. The truth is that data should always drive our design. How can we help students increase success rates without knowing their needs? How can we do it? We can't. So both of these links are something that we're going to send out to you guys after this meeting. But also take some time to learn your own learning style and learn your multiple intelligence. Because if we know ours, then we can help our students learn theirs. And this provides great insight, and it really gives us valuable information for anyone directly or indirectly involved in the process to increase these student rates. So the Learning Style Inventory will help us understand how our students learn. The Multiple Intelligences surveys will explain how to teach to each intelligence category. To build on each of the tiers of the teaching, social, and cognitive presence within that community of inquiry model means that we need to establish a strong foundation before we even begin. So let's break it down. Success rates. What's it going to look like? We really need to tackle the three areas of our greatest need: engagement, communication, and collaboration. To better engage our students, we need to focus on course updates. We've got to streamline traditional content into digital and interactive content. We've got to increase our tech, and really we should be using surveys and other informational gathering tools to identify how we can better increase our student engagement and participation. In our increase and strengthen our communication, we can simply just be more available. We can help facilitate and support student learning. A few additions that we can make are maybe providing weekly announcements in every course, increase our online support, maybe offer more online help and or information sessions. As we work to collaborate also, more amongst both the student body and faculty, we can add again those online and face-to-face options for learning as well as supportive approaches. And we can utilize online collaboration tools to really start to fill this void and build our community of collaboration within our student and our faculty body. So using the community of inquiry framework, it appears as though we are not fully accommodating each of the presences. Our teacher presence needs to be engaged. We can begin this remedial action by providing opportunities for live lessons or options for the teacher to lead or lecture using engaging content and even interactive activities through web conferencing and other online collaborative platforms. Our social presence can be remedied with programs like WhatsApp, which provides fantastic opportunities to communicate individually as well as a whole. Then we can work towards an increase in our cognitive presence by really upping our game with online interactions. We need to catapult ourselves into the 21st century and utilize the options of virtual environments or augmented reality simulations and really any other high-interest, high-tech learning opportunity that allows for students to feel immersed in the content and immersed in their programs. How do we increase our digital presence in our courses and our materials? How do we move our outdated content into more interactive, immersive online presence? What are our goals moving from a traditional learning environment to a more 21st century learning environment? Our students know, understand, and use technology for a large portion of their everyday lives. We've got to meet them where they are comfortable, and we really need to provide a learning community that's reflective of their technology skill set and their know-how. And we're going to see all of that once we kind of start updating these courses and the curriculum and boosting our digital presence in this online learning environment. So that will be a really nice natural progression for us as well as our students. Okay, so according to the SAMR, my favorite way to say it, the SAMR model, we have four main categories of where we are and where we can go. At this point in time, we're really hovering between the augmentation and the modification levels. We've enhanced our curriculum, we've broadly updated our courses, but we are not at the level of cutting-edge 21st century learning that's really needed for this generation of students. The goal we need to do is push our coursework and our planning into the redefinition category. And if you look down there, that's the fourth one down, and it says that the student-teacher's world expands beyond the classroom. The classroom just becomes an inspirational starting point, and the true learning really has the opportunity to take place outside of the classroom, but still is facilitated by the teacher and carried out by the learner. This truly is our goal, and this is where we're going to really start seeing that transformative process. So there are many theories that back up the need for these actions to make online learning more successful for our students. One example is really the transformative learning theory. And if we go back right here and we look at this, we're trying to go towards this transformational change in our content. And so what better way to do that is than through the transformative learning theory that we push for our students. This theory divides learning into instrumental and communicative learning. Instrumental learning focuses on task-oriented problem solving. Communicative learning allows the learner to express his or her wants, needs, and desires. This process can take the learner through a psychological, a convictional, and a behavioral journey. We really hope to see this theory manifest itself through some of the changes we've talked about so far in this presentation. By changing our online learning experience that we're going to offer, hopefully we can really begin to transform our students' opinions, their learning abilities, and really how they feel towards the entire learning process. And hopefully this will move them to the behavioral changes, such as better online interactions between students and instructions, which of course will then bring back our goal of these greater success rates. The result of this transformational learning is that students will really begin to feel more confident online. And that's really our goal. Another theory that displays the need to overhaul our online learner experience is the theory of multiple intelligences. We talked about that a few slides back, where we've really got to make sure we know what the multiple intelligences are, and are we gearing our content towards which we have the most of in our student demographic. This theory argues that learners should be encouraged to develop their skills in the intelligence areas towards which they're most drawn. For online learning, this might look like giving students the opportunity to turn in a report on the Great Depression. Students are then free to write the paper, give an oral report, record a video presentation, create a dance, write a song, maybe even create an online portfolio with interactive digital content to really engage creativity, but to give them a lot of ownership in what they're doing. Anything that allows them to experience learning in the way through the intelligence in which they connect is our goal. Another way to implement this theory is to differentiate the type of assignments learners must complete, instead of requiring the same thing over and over again. Once we implement this theory, our students will truly begin to build their engagement in their courses, and thereby again increase those success rates, which is our goal. And a last theory that we really think is something we should consider in this overhaul process is the one of the self-determination theory. In order for self-determination, or really motivation, to occur, three things have to happen: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. This theory shows us that learners have got to feel that they are in control of their lives. They've got to have that autonomy. They've got to be able to master and succeed in their environment. That brings them into the competence. And then feel connected to their peers, relatedness. In order for all of these things to be checked off, it's important for our institution and our instructors to do the best we can to set students up for success. When our content and design are up to par, students will feel more motivated and self-determined to succeed. And again, there we go again with those success rates, feeling just really engaging our students. By implementing these changes, our students will benefit in tremendous ways. They're going to feel more confident using our online systems by using newly designed platforms and instruction aimed at streamlining our digital learning. Students are going to feel more engaged because instruction has been tailored to fit them and their learning styles and their intelligences. And finally, by really designing these online activities to appeal to students' intrinsic values, they're going to find that self-determination to succeed. And that means that we have taken from the teaching presence, the social presence, and leading to the cognitive presence of that community of inquiry model, and we've really honed in on a way that we can get to that middle part where the learning occurs. Thank you guys so much for taking a moment to listen to our ideas on how to best tackle our online course overhaul. We know that we can increase student engagement, build communication, and strengthen collaboration with a few changes and modifications. This in turn will help us increase our success rates, as well as bring our courses and our methods of learning into a new digital powerhouse experience for students, staff, and faculty alike. Thank you again for listening and being part of our presentation.